our quality of the email traffic and the CPC went up.
I mean, they never gave out something like a cheat sheet how to not get banned on this virus total or so.
The world is moving from deterministic to probabilistic data, and I'll explain that.
Good that you explained it, because I have no idea what that means. Yo, what's up, everybody? And welcome back to This Ain't a Dating Show XXX, the video podcast with the smartest minds from the dating industry. In this case, it's really like this because we have Lisa Moskotova here, the chief organizer at Loudbids and Flirt Revenue. We speak about the technology evolution in the dating industry, and later on, we have also a special promo from Loudbids, so stay tuned here. This podcast is, like always, presented by Masters in Cash that puts the bread on the table for me and my child. And yeah, we directly start into the podcast. Lisa, thank you very much for taking time and speaking about this complex topic with you. I'm expecting to learn quite a thing from you. And we know each other since 10 years plus or so. For the people that don't know you yet, please introduce yourself and also the companies that you are involved in.
Thank you, Stefan, for having me in the first place. And so many nice words. I'm blushing right now. If you don't see it, I have good light behind me.
Smart.
So yeah, for those who don't know me, my name is Lisa. I'm from Donetsk, Ukraine. I've been in this industry for 21 years already. I've been doing many things, starting from dating animation and customer support to affiliate management. Then I was managing the development projects, and then we founded the Dating Factory, which was a very successful white label dating platform, and still is actually. Just we sold it, and then but we founded Flirt Revenue, which is a dating advertiser. We have our own offers, but we also concentrate a lot on remarketing, on API. We work with all the dating advertisers, including Masters on Cash and API, and we also have the advertising network, Loudbids, and our goal there is to provide quality dating traffic to the market. Basically, we tested ourselves as well. We have a lot of anti-bot solutions, so yeah, we are doing our best to provide not quantity, but quality dating traffic.
Yeah, you and the anti-bot and your technical solutions. This will be something like a red line that we will follow here. But before we go to the complicated part, let's speak a little bit about the dynamic in this industry. You started 21 years ago. What is like an eternity in this industry? I mean, I do it since 14 years and you do it even 7 years longer. Things are changing fast in this industry. If you look back 21 years ago until now, what are the most important changes? How was it in the start? How is it now? What is now harder? What is now maybe easier?
Yeah, it's very different, of course. Like when I first started, there were like very few even affiliate programs. And when I started working, I didn't know what affiliate link was. And for me, it was very difficult to explain to people the whole concept of affiliate business and what we do. White labels, Real Dating Partners, where I started working, was the first ever dating white label company. So that was not even on the market. We also started doing adult dating, and there was not so much of it in Europe. In America, already there was Sex Search, there was Adult Friend Finder, but there was nothing in Europe. And of course, in 1990s and 2000s, it was wild, wild west on the internet. So technologies were always and constantly evolving, and there were so many tools evolving and appearing on the market that helped marketers to gather data from the user, a lot of data actually, and trick the user into clicking on the ads, and all those nice things appeared, those pop-ups, pop-unders. Advertising technology was just, it was not evolving even. I think it was growing so rapidly, you could not even, anticipate it. And when I started, it was all desktop. But now mobile first approach doesn't surprise anybody, right? But I remember at Dating Factory days, we were even debating because there were some people who still didn't think that mobile was there to stay, and we launched it in 2009. And even Meta back then, it started implementing mobile strategy in 2012 when the smartphones were already there, and so yeah. But now everything is mobile, so that's a very big difference. Like technologically, like push notifications appeared, for example, and now everybody is monetizing the user with push notifications. But I think what's very important is right now, and within the last, I would say 4 or 5 years, the world has turned more into legislation and into trying to make it less of a wild journey for marketers and the users, but into a regulated one. So that's a big change that's happening right now. And it started happening with introduction of like user consent, because back then we do a lot of email marketing and a lot of email overall. And there were some countries like UK that had Data Protection Act, for example, and Germany, which required the consent of the user for mailing, like double opt-in. In France, you had to have user opt-in for additional marketing mailing as a separate checkbox, but that was it. Like the rest, you could do whatever you want. Right now, it's not the case. Like tracking the user right now is also not possible like it was back in 2020. So I will not even start about billing, because that can be a separate podcast as an idea for you. Like things do change, and regulatory, they changed a lot for the last 5 years.
And it's not changing for the better when I hear that, at least not in the last 5 years. Would you say the sweet spot of dating was maybe between 2009 and 2019, when mobile could be monetized, tracking solutions, monetization solutions came up, and now since the regulations, it went down? Was this like the golden age, this 10 years in between?
I would say even before that, because before that also you could advertise freely with Google for dating and adult dating, and they had zero restrictions. Running Google campaigns back in 2000, even 6, 8, yeah, that was like you just launch and it's profitable. But yes, also like 2010 and to 2020, yes, definitely. And you didn't have to care about all those consent, cookie pop-ups, all that shit that you have to do right now.
So there happened quite a few things in the last years. In the last years happened maybe more than in the 20 years before when it came to regulation, at least when it comes to privacy. Why is this happening in these years? What is the reason for that?
I think the user started to be more aware of the internet and of what's happening and what could be happening with their data. And the governments, they felt that they had to follow this, that they had to interfere. And of course, there was GDPR coming up in Europe, and then CCPA in US, that's in California. And it changed a lot the way that data is being acquired, stored, used, and what you could do with it and how you should protect it. And also what started happening, we have monopolists, of course, over the internet, like Google, like Apple, like Facebook, Meta. And government started actually, especially after quite a few scandals with the user data, like Cambridge Analytica scandal, for example. Governments started pushing all those companies into actually making the change and complying to those regulations and finding them, and they had to comply. And also there were quite a few antivirus companies, for example, and ISPs who also wanted a piece of a pie, I would say, and to protect the user, even though sometimes they really overdo it. That's for sure. And that's been a very hot topic lately for affiliates, for advertisers and ad networks, all those malicious link problem when, for example, VirusTotal is aggregating a lot of data and is flagging the links, and then the ad network flags the campaign as malicious.
I mean, they never gave out something like a cheat sheet how to not get banned on this VirusTotal or so on. What would be cool, because we can adapt with what we are doing if we know the rules. Now at the moment, nobody knows the rules exactly. We are having flagged our domains as well at Masters in Cache. It's affecting nearly everybody, and it's going through a cascade of people, and one of them has an issue. VirusTotal freaks out. What do you think is triggering these alerts?
Normally, that's the actual scripts on the page. And sometimes it doesn't need to be some malicious script that would, just get your data. But sometimes these are the scripts that those services deem malicious. So sometimes it's like one domain and it's flagged by one, not flagged by the other. And they all have different ways of flagging and checking. And also some of them are impossible to reach. Like some of them would reply to you and say, yeah, okay, you're right. And we remove the flag and everything. But some of them, they would not even reply. And we know for sure that there are like 2 or 3 that actually, if they flag you, that's it. That's done. You changed the domain. Like nothing will help you anymore. And of course, for dating advertisers, it's even more complicated because like you are end product, and you have so many affiliates promoting the product that you don't know what they used to actually lead the user there and what kind of information they ask from the users. Sometimes your link may be flagged because of the whole cascade. That's very rare, but sometimes it also happens. Like normally the end product is the problem. But yeah.
What we can do as the advertiser to protect ourselves. And we will also speak then about what affiliates can do and what you that is having an ad network can do. Because the last thing that we want to do in this industry is having something like a super whitehead branding campaign regulations where you have to submit every page that you have that you are running on, every creative and so on. No affiliate would do that from current point of view. If it's becoming like a general rule that people have to do it, otherwise they have no business. But what we can already do, let's say first as the advertiser, to protect ourselves a bit better from this domain bans.
First of all, you have to before protecting, you have to watch it. So what we've done, we've integrated into Loudbids the API of VirusTotal, of Google Safe Browsing, also Sucuri, which is not free but paid one. But and that one I'm not sure is worth it, to be honest, because if it's flagged on VirusTotal, like if it's flagged on Sucuri, it's most likely will be flagged on the other 2. So you have to check all the time, because sometimes you can get a very big click loss if you are blocked by the major players. We also, what we've done, we've introduced the anti-bot solution, and it's based on cloaking. I know cloaking is a bad word, in the affiliate marketing. It has stigma that you're trying to avoid like Facebook moderation or Google moderation and everything. But sometimes you have to try to avoid those bots as well, because they can be really unfair to what you're doing. And that is actually helping to avoid blacklisting of our, for example, tracking URLs. And that's what I would recommend for sure do to affiliates, to not bring attention of those, or like to block those proper pages from the view of those crawlers. And
So
that
this
you
is
can do.
something practically for the ad network and for the advertiser that they have in common. So every advertiser should connect to the API of VirusTotal, and maybe another player, as you suggested, you do the same thing for your ad network. You have this bot block. How is it with affiliates? Is there something that affiliates can do, because often they get their domain? Yeah.
The same, they can implement this into their tracker. Like, for example, when we buy media, we have it integrated, we use Binom, and we have this Cloaker integrated in Binom. So yeah, and we just put bots to a different URL. And yes, of course, it will cause a bit of a loss of good clicks, and that's for sure. But that's the price you pay, because the hassle you get with changing the domains and getting flagged is much worse than that amount of clicks that you lose.
Okay. How complicated is this for an individual affiliate to integrate something like this? If I would say now I'm an affiliate, I integrate that, can I do it myself because they just give me like a script I upload there, or I need to hire a programmer for a week, or how is it?
No, to be honest, you don't have to hire a programmer. You can talk to your tracker. Like Binom, for example, the first time we've done it for the buying part, for media buy, and it was done by the media buyer himself. So he just we created the account with the Cloaker, and then and there is a standard integration actually with the Cloaker from Binom, so it was pretty easy to set up. Nobody from our technical team was involved in that. When we were integrating into the ad network, that's different, because you have to integrate with the whole infrastructure. That's very different, but that's because we have our own software, right? And we had to do this. But with trackers, I'm sure it's pretty simple.
Why you think affiliates are not really doing that now?
I know some of them do already, but maybe because I think it's this fear for losing valid traffic. But to be honest, in my experience, because we analyze a lot and we have the publishers who send us traffic, we also say, okay, why are you rejecting those clicks? We say, okay, these are bot clicks, and then we go into discussion about it, and we analyze manually. And honestly, what normally is regarded as bot is corporate IPs and no fingerprint sessions, for example. And those are obviously bots. Those are like 100% bots. So I didn't see, I did see a little bit, like a small pattern of good clicks, but it's tiny. It's really tiny.
So an affiliate that would integrate that would maybe lose a little bit of clicks.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, seeing what is trash that he maybe purchased, because in most cases when we speak about this, it will be like media buying traffic and not so SEO stuff. He can also go back to his network and say like, hey, look, dude, here 10% of the clicks that I bought is bought. So the money that will be lost with the good clicks will be most probably even more compensated with the with the complaint
quality. And we integrated this into our email, and our quality of the email traffic and the CPC went up, I would say about 30%. So we have compensated what we have lost in bots. We have compensated in the CPC, and affiliate would probably compensate it in payout. So I really don't see, like, of course it needs testing, But I'm sure affiliates are very familiar with the concept of A/B testing, and they can test, like one campaign with, one campaign without, and also communicate with the advertiser. Ask them, okay, what do you think about quality on this one and this one? Is it different for you? What's happening? Do you see different patterns? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most advertisers, including us, when the affiliate communicates very open what that is, we always find like an agreement. If somebody's running on €5 a little bit and it's doing kind of okay, and they say like, hey, we have now here premium source, but I need like 6 or 650. There's always room for achieving that. As you
Exactly.
has like an ad network and you have your own rules when somebody comes and say, hey, this was bot traffic, what happened maybe before you integrate this cloaker before. How is it usually for ad networks when an affiliate is coming with a proof of bots? I'm not saying like 1% or 2% because the people should swallow that most probably, but really like a bigger amount, like 10% plus.
Sorry. We try to compensate the affiliate, like the advertiser, for sure. In this case, we go to the publisher, we talk to them about it. We had such cases for sure, and even once I was myself buying from Exoclick, and one campaign literally like it was obviously bot traffic, and they couldn't stop it on time because the campaign was locked. It was email traffic, and it was locked, and it was weekend. So quite a lot of money actually went into nothing. But I went to the guys and I spoke with them, and they actually compensated me as well. So it's a common practice if you can prove that, yeah, not like 5 or 10%, but if majority of that is bots.
I just wanted to say, hey, we have to beep out the name of EXO. Maybe they don't like it, but in the end of the day, they compensated it, and
No, they did. They did.
yeah,
I'm
and
like
it
I'm
can
praising
happen
them
to,
here. Yeah.
and I think it can happen to everybody. I mean, also in Masters in Cash, we had an affiliate is not getting paid out because we had like not press save or whatever. So yeah, mistakes are done as long as the people are standing up for it.
No, definitely, it happens. It happens.
So yeah, I really hope that a lot of more people are integrating the solutions in their tracker, because it ends up with us and all the work that we have to get new domains, especially when we have to adjust it on a tracker level and not only a product. We work a lot with white labels. We make like this and have a new one,
Yeah.
even when it's sometimes annoying. If we have like something like hotmove.com and we have to change it to my hot neighborhood move, it's already having an effect.
For sure.
And
On
especially if it's
branding.
then in like a weird language that we don't have in-house somebody that speaks that.
Yeah.
Okay, we go back to the laws following here this red line. The biggest change was GDPR.
Yeah.
So why was it such a big change for the industry?
Because we are dating people, right? And we have a lot of data on people. So when somebody fills out your registration form, they have to fill out, email, sex, some demographics data, some like you track their IP address. Some people like some products want mobile phone. Of course, we have the user agent information. And before we didn't care. It was stored in the database. Who had access to it? We really like didn't care about it. GDPR makes it mandatory to actually care what kind of data you store, like you collect and you store about your user. And also what they did, they divided the data into different blocks, into different categories. And one of what I just mentioned is personal data. But they also made a category of sensitive data. And what do we store as dating people? We store orientation, because we need to know if the person is straight, gay, because we have different offers, right? We have straight dating offers, we have gay dating offers. You have trans, for example, and that's also a sensitive data.
Trans.
Yeah, exactly.
Moneymaker.
Yep. And all those niches, like some people in mainstream, they store race, ethnicity, religion, political beliefs. And we at Dating Factory, for example, we had tons of sites that would match right-wing supporters or black guys to white girls. You know, we had different affiliates who were running very different websites, and immediately it became sensitive data. And sensitive data requires not just, you know, all those checkboxes, privacy policies, and papers inside, even though that is a hassle. It also requires different storage rules. It requires different access to the database for different levels, you know, like your customer support, top of your customer support, this level, agent, this level, moderation team, this level, developer, this level. And those who understand what development is, that's a very big hassle. So instead of doing like making nice, cool features for people to use, you're actually stuck modifying your freaking database, you know? And yeah, that was a technical nightmare, and you had to go through it.
How is it with targeting people? Is it maybe in the future also not really possible to maybe select in an ad network niches? Because it gets stricter and stricter. And for example, now you can select in most ad networks the interest. And this interest can also be like very deep, like as the easiest one. I run my Gmail stuff only for people that are interested in Gmail. Is maybe there even a possibility that the regulators say like, hey, this is not okay to serve this kind of ads tailored to somebody interested in that? Or is that now too much Armageddon thinking from me?
It depends. Like that's why the world is moving from deterministic to probabilistic data, and I'll explain that.
Good that you explained it, because I have no idea what that means.
So basically, when you are defining, there is a very big difference. In the ad network, you see the cohorts of users, right? Not of users, but interest. And right now, how it used to work. And that's a very big change, because for you selecting on an ad network, nothing will change. But how ad networks will do it is changing a lot right now. Like that's a very big thing, and that's good you're mentioning this, because before we used to work on the cookie base, and we used to determine the data for every particular user. So you could actually know that you, Stefan, are now sitting in Yash, and you're interested in jiu-jitsu, and you are now doing podcast, and like you're on Mac or whatever, you know. But
good that you say nothing about my sexual preferences. I mean, here in Yash, I don't have any, because here's nobody.
Yeah, they won't start targeting you. So yeah, and that was deterministic data, because we knew that that was Stefan. But now the world is moving to probabilistic data with the removal of third-party cookies. We now need to make assumptions that because you are sitting in Yash and going to jiu-jitsu,
you must be gay.
And you're not, yeah, you're not buying flowers, or you know, you're not looking at the rings. Yeah, you may be gay. Yeah, but something like that. So that's a big change, and that's the big topic. I mean, the whole cookie thing is a huge topic right now, and that's what's changing the way how ad networks and advertisers and affiliates, of course, because they're advertisers, can get this information and can determine what the user may be interested in. So those days of tracking everybody are kind of going to end.
Let's say you are having on your API dating company on Flirt Revenue, you have a gay product, let's just say. And somebody signs up there and they agree that they can get marketing messages, whatever. So this is all like fine.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say to this person, I will send only gay offers, or is this in this way not even allowed anymore?
It is allowed, but for you to store that this person is gay, his preference, you have to comply with GDPR regulations. You have to store the information in a protected way, encrypted way. And like in case of the data leak, you have to announce it. You have to give the person the right for data erasure. You have to have all the procedures. Your customer support team has to know how to handle that. And to us, it took us about half a year to go through all those procedures and prepare ourselves to be compliant with that. And yeah, we sat with our lawyers, and yeah, there are some things that are not as complicated as they seem. Like you still can, for example, make an agreement and manage data for somebody, but there should be agreement behind it, and you should mention in the privacy policy that you are managing, like the data is being managed by somebody, but you don't have to say by whom.
I mean, the crazy part is not that you had to do it and not the costs that you had to making this, because for sure it was not cheap with lawyers and programmers. But as you said, the half a year that you could not make something productive.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Apple, to move now a little bit through all these big players that we have, they changed it already a little bit earlier. So in 2020, I have here in my notes that are practically your notes, but it says here 2020 iOS 14 brought changes to app tracking transparency. So what Apple did and how this was affecting as one of the first our dating industry.
Yeah, it was affecting everybody, not just dating industry. It was affecting like anybody who was dealing with apps, who was dealing with internet, because what they did is they made user to proactively agree to tracking the information by the app. So now when you install something and you go in, you can ask app not to track. Apple tells you everything, right? And also they changed the identification for advertisers. So they're not giving now the data per user, but they're supplying to app owners, to advertisers, to advertisers on the apps, the data that is aggregated. And that's a very big difference to what they used to be getting before. And then they went one step further with next iOS 15, and they introduced mail privacy protection. And it changed the way that emails were working on iOS. Basically, what they did, they started preloading email content. And how do we track email open? We put a pixel somewhere in the email. And when the user opens the email, the pixel fires, and we know that the email was open. So open rate was a very effective metric before. But with this update, it actually stopped to exist because we suddenly saw that everybody was opening our emails on iOS.
And you were like, wow, our new copywriter
yeah, I was like,
really
wow,
good.
But no, no wow in the end, because CTR was where it was. And that's why people, like the email marketers, were very angry. There was a lot of noise about it. But yes, right now, we even stopped using open rates for many other ESPs, to be honest. We use CTR, and many other people too, like CTR, and then conversion rate on the landing page, and then quality of interaction, post-click. So yeah, that was a big one.
So speaking more about mailing, because this has maybe an even bigger effect on you, a mailing focused app network for dating, how it changed in the last year, the inboxing, because the delivery became more and more difficult as well.
Yeah.
What was happening there that the inboxing or the delivery became so much harder?
The rules from it was, I think it started like with Apple, with this Apple update, yes. And then I think it was 3 years, no, 2 years ago, already three, almost. Google changed its algorithm a lot, and what you could deliver, it was not even about inboxing, but the emails that you could deliver, you could not deliver anymore because they suddenly the threshold for complaints went down like significantly, and they started just blocking the senders that based on their artificial intelligence algorithms were not sending like engaged email. And that's definitely based on the complaint rates, but they also are connecting the content of the email. They're analyzing the content of the email, the way the email is coded, the links, the sending domains, IPs, of course, all the blocks anywhere. So they basically introduced and rolled out this update. It was, I think, end of July, 2 years ago. And suddenly, a lot of our infrastructures, for example, got blocked on Google, like completely. And we had a long way to actually get back to be able to send to Gmail because of that. And now they seem to have made mandatory all the SPF and DKIM signatures. But that was
For
like we
people
did it.
like me, what is that?
That's the way to sign your email, to tell the ESP that it's and the end consumer that it's a valid email from coming from me, like from my server, to avoid, you know, all those identity stealing scenarios when people just break into somebody's server and use their port 25 to send out emails from that server. So that's mandatory. But for example, for us, we've always done that. So it's not a big change. The bigger change was this complaint rate and the whole neural network connection, you know. So yeah, now Google determines what they think is engaged mail or not engaged mail.
You are well known for your email stuff that you have. So there are others that maybe died in that field. Would you say that you are with your results close to what it was before all this regulation, or is it still
No,
way behind with email?
no. I would say it's way behind. For like dating products, I think it's nothing has changed, but for remarketing it did, because it's especially when you have an agreement with someone to manage their data, it's much less engaged email and you have to make much more effort, because before it was quite easy to manage that. But right now, I'm sure you see much less companies offering that, because it's become really complicated. Yeah, and I would not say that it's back to what it was 3 years ago, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and I mean everything is also a chance if you focus on certain and you do it better. You have in the end of the day more than before. So fingers crossed for you and the crew. Let's speak about the third-party cookies. Safari, Firefox, and now Chrome are making their big moves. And actually, the podcast that we are having here is something that came a little bit from the community. It's not common that people are suggesting me topics, but it was coming from us internally, but also, let's say, from the community around Afpal and this podcast and the dating stuff, to speak especially about the changes in Google. What is happening, especially there? What are there the news?
Basically, they've been delaying it for quite some time. Right now, Safari and Firefox, they are by default already not accepting third-party cookies. So that's a surprise to many people, but it's been silently rolled out for a long time. But Google has a monopoly. They have, I think right now, 60% of the browser market. So yeah, that's why Google is such a big news. Since the beginning of this year, they took 1% of the users And if you have been in this experiment, you get notified by your browser that you are in the experiment. And they are removing, like not allowing third-party cookies to be placed in your browser, basically. And they are going to roll it out completely by the end of 2024. But they've been working on it for a few years, like 2 or 3, and they're trying to compensate this with all the machine learning and AI and this predictive model. So they're trying to compensate it. And if you go and search, for example, for Google videos on YouTube, how to prepare for like cookieless world, not cookieless, but third-party cookieless, because first-party cookies are not going anywhere. They suggest you to test the website, and also they have, they have a lot of tools that they suggest you use, and they also want to work with the ad networks. They've created this privacy sandbox for ad networks that we can engage in and get the data, but not deterministic data about this particular user, but about segments of the user. So based on certain data that we have about the user, what those users might be interested in. So as you asked about your Gmail campaigns, in the future, the ad network would not be relying on the cookies that they placed in somebody's browser, but they would be relying on such data from Google or from other companies that provide this data to make predictions, basically.
So in the end of the day, if I hear it like this, it looks for me not that it's just only about user protection. It's also for Google like a nice way to make money and have more control, because before you made your third-party cookie, now you have to connect to God knows what API to get this information. And maybe it's the same outcome for you and for the advertiser and for the affiliate. It's just that we don't have it in our hands. Is this right, what I say?
Yeah, that's what I feel as well. And I don't like it. It looks like all these big companies are just becoming even bigger, and the monopoly is just expanding. So we are getting less information and less possibilities. But I think in this case, what we need to do is to also, because why they have this information and why they're able to do that, because they're providing quite a lot of value to the user, and in return they get a lot of data based on that. So I would say first-party cookies is the way to go for dating advertisers and affiliates as well, to try and build some intermediary, products where you would get more information from your users, because you are providing them with some value. I know, like at some point, Facebook quizzes were very popular as a promotional method, but then why not turn this into some website where we just, for free, provide this fun thing for people, or some information, some articles, some stuff that some AI bot, to project or plan a perfect date or whatever, and then gather the interests, because what you gather yourself is yours, and you're not relying on anything
What's
else.
the difference to the typical landing pages we already have in dating? Like, yeah, I have no sexual disease. I will not speak that it's the wife of my neighbor. I'm hetero.
Do
I
you
want
think
me to. I mean, there is most probably no storage behind it besides what
exactly
it going.
that's what I wanted to say? Do you think this information gets stored somewhere?
Mm.
It doesn't. Of course, there are more advanced companies that already are doing this. I mean, like storing all this data and having this free member area concept, and that's a very good one. You don't have to build the user to be able to get user data. and you know, you have to follow where the money is, as Tim Cook said at some point. And here the money is also in the user data, and yeah, that I feel is the.
How it would look practically. So let's say we implement it. We have the landing page. Yes, I'm straight. I'm 1.70 m and I only like chubby girls. Can I use this information at another product that I have when the user is returning, or am I not even allowed to?
You are.
Okay.
You are, because what Google is leaving, and not only Google, they have the ability to, even with cookies, actually, not just with the information, but even with third-party cookies, you can claim to Chrome that these sites are interconnected and prove the ownership, that they all belong to one company, and you need this data to like give the user the best service. And they
so again, additional
say that,
work. And again, additional programming, because the starter has to end up now somewhere and connect with your product, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, but for that, like when you have legitimate reason for doing that, Google will allow you to do it.
Mm-hmm. And to speak about the niche players there, is there also a possibility to do something about Safari and Firefox, just in case?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because if you store the data, you store the data, and that's your data. But cookie-wise, the user has to proactively enable that, and I really don't think that many people do that, to be honest.
Crazy. So okay, we have another one from the big companies to talk about. It is the last one. It's Meta. Often mentioned already here in this talk, but we have not spoke about how it's affecting these guys. And I mean, Meta, how many affiliates are running there?
Yeah, a lot. Meta was, like, I think, the most reluctant to go with this flow, of course, because unlike Google or Apple, they don't have like physical product they sell. Apple has the phones and watches and everything. Google has the phones and everything like that. And Meta relies on advertising. Meta relies on user data. Meta invented the concept of social graphs, social cohorts, and made it like into an art. And that's why the advertising on Meta works so well, because it's an amazing algorithm. And of course, affiliates who advertise there, they rely a lot on Metapixel and Metapixel tracking, and that definitely used to work on the third-party cookie technology. But they had to make those changes, so now they have the conversion API. Of course, again, more work, server to server, and the networks would have to do much more work in integration between advertiser and affiliate through this Meta API, conversion API. But it's possible still, like they made it possible to track the user conversion from
now
Meta.
it's only the user conversion, that the user becomes really a customer, or with the conversion is practically every step meant that the user can go through in the funnel?
No. You can track the step in the funnel. You just need to plan out what events you want to track and how to do it, and also to the advertiser, of course, needs to allow that as well. Also, Meta Pixel can right now it already uses the first-party data, like first-party cookies, and I think now they already enabled it by default. So they're getting there. They're making the changes. They're very angry about it, of course, because they are the ones who are not getting anything out of it. But yeah, they have to do it, and they're doing it. So I don't think that it's apocalypse. Sorry, for the affiliates. It's just they would need to change a couple of things, but that's it.
It's the companies that have to do the most of the work.
Yeah.
What else we have to prepare for that is coming up now?
I think we need to, but I think everybody is saying that, we need to incorporate more the data and AI for analyzing that data. So we need to prepare to be very clever about segmenting the user, maybe about using, there is a concept of ID graphing that allows you to track the user between different devices. And that's a very complicated thing, like technically. And we are looking into that right now, into the ways of doing it. But that's the future for sure. Like you need to be able to not just profile the user because of their cookie, but also because the cookie on the mobile device won't be on the there on the desktop, for example. But you need to find ways of defining that that was actually Stefan who was just on his Mac, and now that's him on his iPhone browsing this website. So that's something that mainstream is doing much better right now than our industry, that's for sure. Maybe because it's easier for us right now. It was easier for us to advertise and make money, but dating industry needs to go into that as well.
Yeah, that's why it's also hard to have like smart links, for example, for the mainstream industry. You
Yeah.
can only do it practically with this wise niches like dating, iGaming, betting. This kind is working, but you
Yep.
cannot make a smart link and say like, hey, I show now the best e-com product. When
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That won't work. Yeah. And that's why mainstream had to adjust much faster than us.
Yeah. What else we have here? First party data, ID graphing, data enrichment. Oh,
Yeah, that's interesting concept. And I think like in this case, for our industry, it's probably working vice versa. So we have opportunity because we gather a lot of data about the user. We have the opportunity to provide this data to other companies who are then providing it to mainstream players. So I think that we're not doing it enough. Like we store a lot of first party data ourselves, and we need to use that.
what would be a practical example where a
you
mainstream
have
company buys adult data?
it doesn't matter. Like for example, Stefan, if you are interested in women and you went to an adult website or you're on Pornhub, does it mean that you're not don't want to buy a car, or you don't need, I don't know, to a bicycle, or you don't need to buy a car chair for your daughter? It doesn't, right? So and there is a way of we have email, we have phone numbers sometimes, like it depends. So there is a way of adding this data to your profile and advertising to you.
And you would mean that the advertising for mainstream products will happen in the future also more on adult products?
Maybe. Or they would want a phone number that they don't have, but the dating site has, for example. And using this email, we can provide them with the phone number, for example, and some other interests.
Last question, otherwise my head is exploding here. The last point we have is social graphing.
Yeah,
Facebook lookalike audiences.
Yeah, this is something that like Facebook did really well. I touched on that, and this is also something that is based on first-party data. So they built the network. So that's the algorithm behind Facebook, right? They built the network of your connections. And for example, if you're friends with someone, it's very and you like jiu-jitsu, it's very likely that your friend that you hang out with and like go to the gym together also likes jiu-jitsu. So this is kind of not just about you, but about your network. because we tend, like as humans, we tend to connect with people and hang out with people who are like us in many ways. So that is something that nobody is using as well as Meta, and that there may be potential. I'm not sure yet how it's applicable to adult or dating, but still, there is potential that, for example, if Tom, who is on a right wing, politics dating website, likes the same things that Ben likes, who is also on the same dating on the same website. So there may be potential there for us as well, because like Meta, we are social network just with dating angle. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe that.
people can put on their dating websites what you are interested in, and if somebody says martial arts, you can retarget them. And most probably, the big dating sites, they have hundred thousands of people that like martial arts. So it will be like that. Now comes another thing in my mind, and this is something like an urban legend, but I think there is also like a core. I tested it myself to say stuff next to my phone, and then I get ads for this that has nothing to do with anything I do online. I can understand that when I write to you on WhatsApp, hey Lisa, when we meet next time, what whiskey we drink. I think you drink again, or you're at the moment detox again.
No, right now sometimes drinking, but planning on detox before my big birthday. So
okay, so but if we would exchange that, I can understand that I write you this on WhatsApp, and then I get later on Instagram advertising for a store. I'm not sure if how alcohol is allowed there, but I get it sometimes, so it should be in some way doable. So this is something I can understand, but it happens to me also when I speak about something, and I spoke about very random things to avoid that it's somewhere tracked, and I still get it, like toothpaste or something like this. What is behind that, and how that can be legal?
it is legal. And if you look in terms and conditions of Apple, of for example, Amazon, when you're buying an Alexa device, it's written there that they because look, for example, Alexa is turned on, right? Or Siri, and my phone is lying there, and I want Siri to do something, right? Or for me, she needs to hear when I call her. How does she do that? She's listening to you all the time. And that's it. It's always enabled. The same with the Alexa device, and the same with any device that has this capability. And it is in terms and conditions, and you're agreeing to that. I really think that that should be not allowed. But for now, there is no such regulation.
They regulate the cookies and the inboxing, but not
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is as it is.
But yeah.
Lisa, we are coming to an end of a super educating podcast. We will have a special from Loudbids, but before we are name dropping that, can you share with us your golden nugget? This is the best advice you can give to the audience that we have not heard 100 times before.
Okay, that will be from my own experience, because I went from being like perfect student and being all into theory to actually being hands-on practical person, and right now back to actually planning more. Let's put it this way. So my advice here would be, do things, but always think about detail, because the devil is in detail. And this way, when you start doing that, you will not be discouraged when some obstacles come into your way, because you already, first of all, spent some time planning and committed to it, and you already may have foreseen something, and you feel that you have to push through. and have to push through those obstacles. It actually helped me a lot because sometimes I used to panic when something happened. But if you kind of pre-think a bit and say like, okay, but I'm going into it consciously, that helps you, like pull through.
You need to be a certain character for that, or at least learn it.
Yeah. A lot of
Okay.
self-reflection.
A lot of self-reflection. What we are reflecting also back to people is a 5% cashback. So if you are into trying a new ad network, especially with high quality dating traffic and with like a fantastic team behind it. I mean, nobody can deny that after hearing Lisa speaking here. And the other guys that are there are fantastic as well. Everybody in their own discipline. So they have a 5% cashback for 30 days here together with Masters in Cash. So when you are loading up your balance and you spend it in 30 days, you get 5% back. So interesting stuff to try out there. Lisa, I appreciate the time that you took. I appreciate the time to speak here, the preparation that you did, the chats that we had before to make it like really a great podcast. So really, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Stefan. It was amazing, and you're a great host. And I was a bit nervous, and like you made me relax. Thank you for that.
That's what a good host is about, and
Sure.
I learned a lot. So great stuff, Lisa. Thank you, Masters in Cash, for presenting, and see you very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.